Hej, hallå, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to Class Movie Rambles, where I talk about old movies that I found in my class about cleaning. This week's movie is Nightmares from 1964, and it's about 1 hour and 22 minutes long, and it starts with an eerie intro credit sequence where the main character Janet is walking through a hallway, and she is guided by a voice, and she gets trapped inside the room with this mad woman, and then she wakes up screaming because obviously it was a nightmare. And the next day she's confronted by her warden slash guardian teacher called Grace, and Grace accompanies home because she's allowed to go home. So Janet and Grace are sitting in the car. They're driven by this chauffeur guy, and they go by a fenced-in area, and Janet starts acting really weird. And she gets home and she is encouraged to actually sleep a bit. And it's actually told that Janet's mom was locked in this place called, it's an asylum. That's the building they passed on the way to the house. And Janet's mom actually murdered her husband, and while Janet was watching. That's probably why she's so traumatized. And during the night, she actually starts to sleepwalk. And later, Janet dreams of her mom, and she follows her into a room where she finds her stabbed. And then she wakes up and is all hysterical. And the next day is actually Janet's birthday. But before that happens, she has another nightmare, and she tries to cut her wrist because she's obviously going crazy and mad. And on her birthday, Henry actually brings his wife, and I forgot to talk about it, but Henry is sort of Janet's love interest, but he already has a wife. So Janet flips and she tries to kill Henry's wife, and a doctor is called in and she's put away into an insane asylum. But this was all staged by the warden Grace, because obviously Grace and Henry had a relationship, so they want the manor itself. It's kind of convoluted, but that's the whole plot. Grace and Henry moves into Janet's mansion, and they have an argument, and they start slapping each other. And a whole lot of things, sort of weird things, start to happen. So Grace thinks that Henry's having an affair with another woman, which of course he hasn't. But a lot of weird things happen. So she starts to see things, and she's mentally breaking down. And meanwhile this is happening, she gets informed that Janice has escaped in the asylum. She's out and about, and in the middle of the night when Grace is sleeping, Janet presumptuously, or we are so to believe, that she goes to pick up her doll and she leaves a knife in its stead. And that of course triggers Grace even more. She gets even more worried about things, and she goes into Henry to talk to him, and he's not very understanding, and it ends with her actually stabbing him to death. And she goes hysterical, trying to call the police and everything. But it turns out the household was just setting her up for all of this because she treated Janet so poorly. So Janet is actually doing fine, and the bad guys got what they deserve in the end. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So what did I think about this movie? I have a soft spot for black and white movies, and this horror movie was making me really uncomfortable when they're walking through hallways and all the creepy stuff that's happening. And the twist at the end was something I didn't expect. It's one of those things with black and white movies that's like, it's perfect horror movies in my opinion. So can I recommend it? Probably not, but it's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. There were a couple of different uploads of it. And apparently, I guess this movie is public domain. That's why this is happening. It was actually part of the, it's more of like a rare variant of like a Hammer horror movie, the Hammer films. So if you want to see it, it's on YouTube, so go ahead. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.